All right, everyone. Today is Bezior, the birthday of the Rebbe Marash. We're going to learn now the daf for tomorrow for Shabbos, Gimel, which will be daf Yud Ches. We left off yesterday, daf Yud Ches, Amud Aleph, 5 lines from the top of the Yamud, the third to last word on the line. You see where I am? Daf Yud Ches, Mendel, that book right there. It's the last Masechta in the book. Daf Yud Ches. Which daf is that?
Yud Ches.
Yud Ches, very good. So we're 5 lines from the top. The third to last word on the line. It says boy. You see? Boy Rava.
Yes.
Okay, Rava asked a shaila like this. We're gonna have a series of a bunch of questions about Sotah, and a lot of them we're not gonna know the answer to. Let's go. Boy Rava asked, Kasav Beis Megillah Sotah, what happens? So we know that the Torah says that the whole Sotah ceremony has to happen for each woman individually. The Asal Lo HaKoyen, the Torah says that the Kohen has to do it for her, which means that he has to do it for each woman separately. So now he writes, you have two Sotahs now. That's leaving aside the machlekes that we had earlier. If you're allowed to give two Sotahs at one time, if you're allowed to do that, mitzvahs chavilas, or if they're gonna get chizik from each other, forget about that for a minute. You have two Sotahs, and you wrote two different Megillas, two different parchments, which is good. And then what happened? But then you have to erase the Megillah, and you erased both of them in one cup of water. So Mahu, what's the din? Siva lishma bi'inan. Do we need the writing to be done for her sake? And that's what happened because each Sotah A and Sotah B, both have their own Megillah. Or do we also need the Megillahs to be erased for the sake of the Sotah? Do we need each Sotah to have her personal erasure of the Megillah? And if you erase them into one cup, you can't tell which Sotahs is which because they're both in one cup. So that's question number one. And if you're going to tell me that that the mechika itself also has to be the shema, which is the halacha, that you can't erase both of them into one cup, they both have to be erased separately in two different cups. So now what happens if mechakan bebeis kaisis? What happens if you erased the two megillas in two different cups? The chazar ve'ervan, and then you went and mixed them together into one cup. You mixed the two waters into one cup. So Mao, what's the din? Is it just that you need to erase the Megillah for her own sake, and that's what happened because you erased it for her sake? Or do we say that since you mix the two waters together, now when they're drinking the water, she's not drinking her own water exclusively, she's drinking her water and the other girl's water because they're mixed together. So now so good. That's question number 2. Now what happens if you're going to tell me that they can't do that if you mix them together, then it's puzzle because they each need to drink their own specific cup. So now the question is, so now the question is, you mix them in one cup, then then you mix them in one cup, and then you went and separated them again. So you have two Sotah parchments. You erase them into two different cups of water. You mix the 2 cups of water together into one cup, and then you take that cup of water and pour it into 2 new cups. This is all theoretical, obviously. It probably never happened in history. All these cases. So, Mahu, what's the din? Yesh brera or im brera? Do we say that there is brera, which means retroactive clarification, or do we not say brera? So, brera is a theme throughout Shas, which means it's a very interesting concept, so pay attention. Brera means that you have something that's not clarified right now. It's something that's mixed together, but later, after the fact, you're able to say that originally it was split up. So what's the example? So there's a few different examples, and Tosfos over here, the long Tosfos says how there's really 2 kinds of brera, and the brera over here is not really the classic kind of brera. So let's see. The classic kind of brera is a case like this. You have a din that you need to separate meiser from oil, from produce. So what happens if you have a barrel of oil, a barrel of wine? And the problem is that you don't have a cup to separate meiser into. Meiser is 10% of the barrel. Yeah, Mendel, you're paying attention? You have 10% of the barrel needs to go to a Levi. And it needs to be separated. You need to separate the meiser, and then you could drink it. What happens if you don't have a cup? So are you able to say, but you want to drink the wine? Are you able to say, I'm going to drink the wine now. I'm not going to drink the whole thing. I'm going to leave the 10% on the bottom of the barrel. And then it'll come out retroactively that 10% that I left originally was the part that was separated for meiser. Yeah, so that's called brera. That means that right now they're not really separated, but after the fact, you're going to say that originally this is how it was separated. So that's the classic case of brera. Another classic case of brera is by a get, right? This one's easy to understand, so pay attention. You have the Torah says that a get, the divorce document that you write for your wife, has to be lishma. It has to be for her sake. You have to have her in mind when you write it. What happens if a guy has two wives and both of their names is Rachel and he doesn't know which one he wants to divorce? He wants to divorce one of his wives. It's taking up too much space, but he didn't decide which one yet. So he writes in the get, I, Avram ben Terach, I'm writing a get for my wife Rachel, right? But he didn't choose which one yet. So now, after he divorces his wife, since you have to have in mind your wife when you're writing the get, what he divorces one of them. He decides to divorce Rachel A. Yeah. So are we able to say that retroactively this is the wife that he had in mind? Are we able to say that there's brera that retroactively when he wrote the get he had in mind Rachel A, even though in reality he didn't know which one he was going to divorce yet? But brera means that retroactively we could clarify that the one that he was writing the get for was Rachel number A. Okay, so that's a question: yesh brera or not brera, and it's a big machlekes tanoim throughout Shas, and sometimes we usually leave off with a question because of machlekes tanoim. But bottom line, when it comes to mitzvahs b'deraisa, we say that there's no brera, that we're machmer, there's no brera, and when it's midrabanan, we say that there is brera. But over here in the Gemara, we're asking, what's the din? Do we say brera or not brera? But over here, it's not really the same. Why? Because usually by brera, by this case of retroactive clarification, the two things were mixed together and they were never separated. And now, after the fact, after the event that you're getting to, after the guy drinks the wine, after the guy gives the get, we're saying that originally it was meant for this girl, right? Originally, this 10% was going to the lady. However, in this case of brera or not brera, our case is that you have the 2 cups of water that you separated already, and then you mix them together, and then you separate them again. So our brera is not that we're saying that originally this cup of water was her cup of water always, because it's not true. Because the original 2 cups of water were separated, then you mix them together. We're not going to say that exactly the same water that was in cup 1 and cup 2 went back to cup 1 and cup 2 after you separated them again, right? Because that's nearly impossible to have the exact same particles of water in the same cup. However, our brera, in our case of brera, it's a little bit different because it was already one time separated. So we're not saying brera that it should be retroactively clarified that this is the exact same water, but we are saying that brera should be that this water is specific to that Sotah. Can we say that now that we're separating them again, that this water has always been that Sotah's water, and that it's specifically for her? Okay, so that's our case of brera over here. It's a shaila, and the Gemara answers teku. Let's let the question stand. We don't know the answer. Okay, next. Rava asked another question. Kishka b'siv, we had siv. Siv, we learned in Psachim, is palm net. But apparently siv, this thing that grows around the palm trees, Rashi says that maybe it's not the same siv, but Rashi says that it's a hucholol, it's a certain plant that's hollow, and it's like a straw, just like little kids drink from. Little kids like to drink from straws. It makes drinking more interesting. So what happens if the Sotah drinks through a straw? First of all, Bishvei Feres, what if she drinks it through a tube? Mao, what's the din? What's the shaila? Is it counted as a normal way to drink or not? We had in Psachim, if you remember, in the beginning of our Psachim, we had the round that said about achila gasa. If you eat when you're already full, it's not counted as eating. The Torah says you have to eat matzah, but what happens if you're already full when you're eating matzah and you're stuffing it down your throat? So over there, it's not counted as eating matzah because it's not a normal way to eat when you're stuffing it down your throat. It's not counted as eating. It's the same thing over here. The Torah says that she has to drink the water. If she's drinking the water, it has to be in a normal way to drink. So the shaila is drinking out of a straw considered a regular way to drink, or is it not considered a regular way to drink? And again, the Gemara ends teku. We don't know the answer. Next, Ravashi asked the shaila now. What happens if so we said that the kohen brings a half lug vessel and fills it up with water. That's how much the woman drinks, and she drinks the whole thing. The shaila is what happens if some of it got spilled out. So you don't have the full half lug. So is it still kosher? So once again, teku, we don't know. Next, Amar Zera, Amar Rav Zera said in the name of Rav like this: Beis Shvois Amuris B'Sotah Lo. Why in the Parsha Sotah does it say 2 times about swearing? Does she swear 2 times? So if you look in the Parsha Sotah, look in your paper, you have Pasuk Yutes, V'Yishbiya Oisah Kohen, the Kohen makes her swear the priest shall charge her by an oath. By the way, on the YouTube, so if you want to get the papers, the Parsha Sotah papers, it's on the profile page of the YDS Shluchim 5784 and the one of the links over there, the only link I think. So now, Vishpia Isakain, Pasuk Yithes says that the Kohen makes her swear. Amar Isha says to her, if you did not cheat on your husband, you're going to be good. If you did, then you're not going to be good. Okay, so that's number one swear. That's Pasuk Yithes. Then flip over the page, Pasuk Chafala. Although the Kohen makes the woman swear with this oath of cursing, Shvuas Allah. And he says that Hashem should basically that these waters should kill you if you cheated on your husband. So what are these two swears? You have a swear in Pasuk Yotes and you have a swear in Pasuk Chafal. Why do you need two swears? So what's going on? So now that's Reb Zera in the name of Rav's question. It says Reb Zera in the name of Rav that very simple. Pasuk Yotes, he makes her swear before the Megillah is erased, after you wrote it, but before it goes into the water. And the second one is after he put it into the water. So he makes her swear twice. However, Maskefla Rava asks, that's not true. If you look in the Torah, in the Psukim, both of these Shvuos are written before the Megillah is erased. Why? Because Shvuah number 1 is in Pasuk Yotes, Shvuah number 2 is in Pasuk Chaf Aleph, and the erasing of the Megillah is in Pasuk Chav Gimel. So really, in the Torah, both of these, even the writing, they both happen before the writing in the Torah. So says Rava, Elamar Rava, a different answer. What is the point of the two swears? One is a swear that has a curse included in it. One of the swears is a swear that does not have a curse included in it. So this bottom part of the Gemara is going to explain what's going on in these swears. These swears are very confusing. A swear with a curse, a swear without a curse, what's going on? So let's explain. So what does it mean, a swear that includes a curse in it? So Amar Amram said in the name of Rav that the Kohen has to say to the woman the following: Mashbieni alayich, I am adjuring you, I'm making you swear the following: Shaloi nitmeis, that you were not defiled, you didn't cheat on your husband. Sheim nitmeis, because if you did cheat on your husband, yavayu bich, these waters are going to come into you and they will malfunction your body. Yeah, so that's how Rav Amram says that you have a shvuah sheyeshi ba'ala. You have a shvuah together with a swear together with a curse, because he says a stipulation. He says, "I'm making you swear that you didn't cheat on your husband." That's a shvuah. Sheyeshi ba'ala is that if you did cheat on your husband, these waters are going to come into you. So now the beginning of the wide lines. Amar Rava. So Rava says to Rav Amram, who said in the name of Rav, according to your opinion, it's not a Allah sheyeshi mashvua. The swear doesn't have a curse included into it. You have a swear and you have a curse. He says, swear that you didn't cheat on your husband, because if you did cheat on your husband, the waters are going to come into you. It's not shot that the swear is a curse. It's not one and the same. You have two parts of the statement. You have part number 1 is a swear, part number 2 is a curse. It's not a swear and a curse mixed together. So Rava says you have to say like this. Rava says, Mashbieni alayich, the Kohen says to her, I'm making you swear, that if you did cheat on your husband, these waters are going to come into you. I'm making you swear that if you cheated on your husband, these waters are going to come into you. But 1 second. Amar Ravashi says that according to you, Rava, who has this short statement that if you cheated on your husband, the waters are going to come into you, so you have a curse. However, Shvuah Leka, there's no swear, because she needs to swear that she didn't cheat on her husband also. So how do we mix these two things together? So Ravashi says like this. This is the final answer. I'm making you swear that you did not cheat on your husband. And if you did cheat on your husband, these waters are going to come into you. So it's different than Rav Amram Amarav, because Rav Amram Amarav says that because if you did cheat on your husband, these waters are going to come into you. There, it's two separate things. But in Ravashi's, he connects the two statements with above and makes it one sentence that swear to me that you didn't cheat on your husband, and also acknowledge that if you did, these waters are going to come into you and kill you. Okay, that is what the Kohen has to tell her. That is that. Now we move on to the mission of the bottom of Yud Ches Amud Aleph, Mendel Johnson. Second to last line. Good. Masrisin. So now, we have another Amud. We're going to finish till the end of the parak. So now, says the Gemara Ada. 2 sides. Says the Gemara like this. This says the Mishnah. Almahi emeres amen amen. So if you look in Pasuk Chav Beis, It says that after the second verse. So it says, these waters are going to come into you. Lots by betin to inflate the stomach, and to make the thighs collapse. And the woman says, Amen, Amen. So the Mishnah asks, why is she saying Amen, Amen 2 times? Amen and Amen. What's going on? So says the Mishnah, Amen al ha'ala, Amen al hashvua. The woman has to say Amen, which what does Amen do? What's the function of saying Amen? The word Amen is there to, first of all, to accept an oath. One of the ways that you can take an oath is you don't have to say the swear by yourself. But let's say the court says, swear that kach v'kach, that you did this and this, or you didn't do this and this, or you saw this and this. So if the person says Amen, that's counted as if he said whatever that thing said. So the woman says Amen, as if to. Another thing that Amen does is that you're acknowledging that whatever the guy said is true. That's why when people say a bracha, bless Hashem for giving us fruits, you say Amen, because you're acknowledging that what the person said is true. So she says Amen Allah Allah, Amen to the curse, that the curse is true, that if she cheated on her husband, the waters are going to come into her. And Amen Allah Shvua, on the swear that she didn't cheat on her husband, she says Amen, which means that she's basically swearing herself. Now the Mishnah continues, Amen me'ishzeh. She says Amen 2 times to say Amen from this man, I didn't cheat on this husband. Amen me'ishacher, I didn't cheat on a different husband. What's going on? So Rashi points out that now all these amens that the Mishnah is going to say, the Mishnah is going to go give us a whole bunch of different cases of why she's saying amen for different marriages and different things that are not really related to her relation with this husband who's bringing her to the Beis Hamikdash. So basically, there's a concept called Gilgul Shvua, which is that certain times a bezdin can make a person swear something. Right? Not always can you force someone to swear if you're in a court case with them. There's certain cases where you're able to force the person to swear. For example, we learned in Perek Zayin just now about the Shvuas HaPikoden and the Shvuas HaEdos. In those cases, the Torah says the man could make the guy swear. Now, since there's a bunch of things that the person is not able to make the guy swear about, the Torah allows Gilgul Shvuah, which means to roll swears onto the person, which is that if the Torah has a Torah mandated swear that the Torah says over here, you can make the guy swear. So once the guy's already swearing once, so the other Baldin, the other litigant, is able to make him swear about a bunch of other things also that really, if not for this one swear that the Torah lets him make, the Torah would never allow him to make the guy swear. But once you're swearing about this thing that the Torah said that you could swear, he rolls on a bunch of other swears that the guy's able to make. So by the Sotah, it's optional that if that really a man is not able to make his wife swear that she didn't cheat on him. However, the Torah allows in this case, in the case of Sotah, where he suspects her and he warns her in front of two Eidim, and then she secludes herself in front of two Eidim, when the whole Sotah process happens, the Torah allows for this swear to happen. So now, once again, using Gilgul Shvuah, the Torah allows the husband to make his wife swear on a bunch of other things, that she didn't cheat on him in other contexts where he wouldn't be able to make her swear. So from this man and from another man. Amen Shalei Arusa Nesuah V'Shemeres Yavam. Turning to Amud Beis. I swear that I didn't stray, that I didn't cheat on you, not when I was an Arusa, which means that when we were engaged. According to halacha, the marriage has 2 parts. You have the erisin and the nisuin. Erisin is when he gives the ring and he says, "Harayat mekudeshesli," you're sanctified to me, you're consecrated to me. And after the erisin already, in the olden days, they would wait 12 months until the nisuin when they would actually start living together, chuppah and sheva brachas, whatever. But after the erisin already, she's not allowed to cheat on her husband. And if she cheats on her husband, then they're not allowed to be together. They have to get divorced. After erisin, if the guy wants to marry someone else, if they want to get divorced, he has to write a real get. Erisin is real marriage, even though they're not actually living together. So she says, and since a Sotah, you can't become a Sotah from Erisin, the husband can't make her a Sotah if he suspects her when they were only engaged. That has to be dafka after Nisuin. So since he's making her swear because he suspects her after Nisuin, so through Gilgul Shvuah, he's making her swear about Erisin also. Unisua, after she was married, Vishemeres Yavam, and when she's a Shemeres Yavam. Shemeres Yavam is, and the Torah says, we had this already a few times in the Masech that came up. If a man dies without any children, and he has a wife, the Torah says that the mitzvah is that the man's brother, so the brother-in-law, should marry the widow. And if they don't want to get married, so the guy does the woman does chalitza, as we explained at length elsewhere. So a shemeres yavam is someone who's waiting to do yibum, which means that from when her husband dies until she either marries the other guy or does chalitza, so she's called a shemeres yavam. She's waiting on her yavam, and she's not allowed to marry anyone else in the meantime. She can't have a relation with anyone else. The Torah says that the wife of the deceased is not able to go marry anyone else besides for the brother-in-law. So a shemeres yavam, she sort of has the status. We're going to see sort of has the status of an arusa. They're sort of like engaged because the only thing that's separating them living together is the yibum, right? Just like by nisuin, it's only one step away. So shemeres yavam also, if a guy married his yavama, he makes her swear now, and then he suspected her, so he makes her swear that when she was a shemeres yavam, if he wants to, that she didn't cheat on him. Uknusa, and after they got married also. And then, okay, so that's amen, amen. Then amen shalin itmesi. Amen that I did not cheat on you. And if I did, yavayubi, these waters will enter me and kill me. Rameir says that he can even say like this: amen shalin itmesi. Amen that I did not cheat on you in the past, and amen shalai atame. Amen that I will not cheat on you in the future. Okay, very interesting. So we're gonna have to see if she's the amen, the fact that the function of the amen is that the water works if she says amen. If she accepts the swear and the curse, so the waters can come into her and kill her. So if she says amen that I'm not going to cheat on you in the future, what's the point of that? The waters she's drinking the water now. What's gonna happen already? So do we say that the waters are going to know if she's destined to cheat on the guy in the future and they'll kill her now? So we're going to see in the Gemara. Hakoil Shavin. Now everyone agrees. Everyone, Rav Meir, the Tanakama, they all agree that he can't make her swear on not cheating on him, on not having a relation with someone else before they got engaged, before they even had any connection to each other. Before that, he can't do anything. He can't make her swear about after she's going to get divorced. Now, what happens if he's making her swear that basically the way it works is the Torah says that if a man divorces his wife and then she goes and marries another man in between, so the Torah says that he's never allowed to remarry his original wife after she married person number B. So A is married to Rachel, A divorces Rachel, and then Rachel goes and marries B. So now A is never again allowed to marry Rachel because once he was married, divorced her, and then she got remarried to someone else. They're not allowed to marry each other. That's the pasuk says in Parshas Kisei. Now, what happens if she had a relation with someone else? She didn't actually marry him. She was intimate with someone else. So there, the Torah says he could remarry her. So if he's making her swear, achar shetizgarish. So nistera leechad v'nitmeis v'achar kach echzira lo yahaya masnima. He can't make her swear that when that if I divorce you, and then I'm going to remarry you after that, you won't be intimate with someone in between. He also can't make her swear about that. Why? Because it's happening after the divorce. We just said that he can't make her swear after she gets divorced for things that happen after she gets divorced. We're going to see more details in the Gemara. Zaklal, this is the general rule. Kol shati boil, anyone that she would be intimate with, and that would not make her usher to be with her husband. So he would not make her swear. So if you look in the Mishnah, all the cases that it says that he could make her swear are things that would have made her usher to him. If, for example, from after the engagement, right? After an engagement, he can't make her a Sotah. Halachically, it has to be after nisuin, after the actual marriage. However, if she would have had a relation with someone else after the erisin, she would be usher to marry him. So in that case, the man could say, "I make you swear that you didn't do that." However, in a case for before you were even engaged to me, there it would have no effect on the legal status of their marriage, and therefore he can't make her swear. Okay, more details on the Gemara. Amar Rav Amnuna, says Rav Amnuna, shemeres yavam shezinsa asurali yavama. A shemeres yavam, a woman that's awaiting yibum, a woman that her husband died and didn't have any children, and the Torah says that she's supposed to marry the husband's brother. So in that time in between, if she's intimate with a different person, so she becomes usher to the yavam. Mimai, how do I know this? Midikatani from our Mishnah. Beautiful. Shemeres yavam uknusa. That he can make her swear that she didn't cheat on him, not when she was a shemeres yavam, and not after they got married. So if you're going to say that asira, that cheating on her husband while she's a shemeres yavam, cheating on her future husband when she's a shemeres yavam, is going to make her usher to her husband. So mishum hachi masna ba'ada. That's how the Mishnah is able to include this case. But if you're going to tell me that when she cheats on her husband, when she cheats on her future husband as a shemeres yavam, it doesn't make her usher to the future husband. How is he able to make her? How is he able to stipulate this in the swear? We learned in our Mishnah that the Mishnah ended off that any relation that she would have with someone that wouldn't make her usher on her husband, he's not able to add into the swear. Our Mishnah said that he's able to add when she was a shemeres yavam into the swear, right? When she's awaiting yibum with the second husband, he's able to add that into the swear. So obviously, if our Mishnah is only including cases that make her usher to her husband, so now we learn now a halacha that if a woman cheats on her future husband, on her future yavam, she's going to be usher to him. They're not going to be allowed to get married. They're going to have to do chalitza. Yeah. So that's Rav Hamnuna's chap. So Amri b'Ma'arava, however, in Eretz Yisrael in the West, they said Leis hilchos Rav Hamnuna. It's not true. What Rav Hamnuna said, the halacha is not like it, and it's not true. A shemeres yavam that cheats on her future yavam is able to marry him, and it doesn't ruin their marriage. So our Mishnah was a great proof for Rav Hamnuna that our Mishnah said that he's only able to make her swear about things that would make the marriage fall apart. And our Mishnah added the case of shemeres yavam, cheating on her future yavam. So how could it be if in Eretz Yisrael they're saying that that it doesn't make her usher on her husband? So Hamani Rabbi Akiva. So our Mishnah is the opinion of Rabbi Akiva, which is not the halacha. The Amar Rabbi Akiva is of the opinion that in kiddushin tofsin b'chayvei lavin. So here we go. Chlal in the Torah, there's two kinds of usher marriages. We had in last week's parsha a whole list of people that a man's not allowed to marry, he's not allowed to have relations with. All of his relatives, and there's 21 of them, and the Torah says that if a person does that, he gets kares. He gets the punishment of kares, which means that Hashem kills him before he turns 50. Yeah, so that's the Isser, that's the punishment of kares. It's chayve krisos, it's called. It's people he's not allowed to marry with the penalty of kares. However, there are other people in the Torah that the Torah says you're not allowed to marry, but there's no chiyuv of kares. For example, if a Jew marries a mamzer is someone who his parents were in Isser Kares together. If a brother and sister have a relation with each other and have a child, so that child is a mamzer. There's also many other cases of any person that the Torah says there's a chiyuv kares to marry. If they marry and have a child, that child will be a mamzer, and a mamzer has illegitimate yichus. And the Torah says that a regular Jew is not allowed to marry a mamzer. But marrying a mamzer is not a chiyuv kares. A person doesn't get kares for marrying a mamzer, but it's just a lav. A person will get malchus. Okay. Other cases, for example, a kohen marrying a divorced woman. Also, the Torah says he's not allowed to. He doesn't get kares, but it's a chiyuv. It's a lav. The Torah says you're not allowed to do it. So the general rule, the halacha is b'chlal, that by chiyuvei krisos, if a brother and a sister together, there's no kiddushin tofsin. If he tries to marry them, they try to marry each other, the marriage doesn't work. The Torah doesn't view that marriage as anything. So if a brother gives his sister a ring and says, "You're my wife with this ring," he didn't say anything. It's not counted as anything because a chiyuv krisos. In kiddushin tofsin, kiddushin does not go into effect, and therefore he could give her a ring and she could go marry whoever she wants because her brother giving her a ring was of no consequence and it didn't do anything. It's not. However, by a chiyuv lav, if a Jew gives a mamzeres a ring, or if a mamzer gives a Jewish girl a ring, and says you're married to me, so even though the Torah says you're not allowed to do it, but kiddushin is teifes, and there is kiddushin, they are halachically considered married. They're not allowed to live together at all. They have to get divorced. But when they have to get divorced, he has to write her a get because it's a real marriage. The Torah recognizes this marriage as valid. However, they do have to get divorced. So that's the difference. By chiyuvei krisos, the Torah says the marriage doesn't go into effect chlal. By chiyuvei lavin, the Torah says that the marriage does go into effect. They're just not allowed to be together. However, that's the opinion, and that's the halacha. That's the opinion of all the chachamim. Rabbi Akiva argues, and Rabbi Akiva says that even by chiyuvei lavin, when the Torah says you're not allowed to marry this person, even if there's no kares, kiddushin also does not go into effect. And now, if kiddushin doesn't go into effect, and Rabbi Akiva equates now chiyuvei lavin, we're in the middle of Yud Ches Amud Beis. You see in Rashi on the left side, you see that where the big Gimel Mem, the Gemara. So on that line in the Gemara, one line down, in kiddushin tofsin, Rabbi Akiva, the Reishai, the Rosh Hashanah. So, so Rabbi Akiva equates now chiyuvei krisos and chiyuvei lavin. He puts chiyuvei lavin and chiyuvei krisos on the same level. These two kinds of marriages. So now, so according to Rabbi Akiva now, if a woman cheats on her husband with a lav, right? If she goes and has a relation when she a shemeres yavam, so according to Rabbi Akiva, that's going to break the. That's going to destroy her future marriage with the yavam. Only according to Rabbi Akiva. Everyone else doesn't say that. So everyone else in our Mishnah. Everyone else would argue with our Mishnah. They would say that a shemeres yavam and a knusa, he can't make her swear because it wouldn't have affected the marriage. And that's why in the Ma'arava they say that the halacha is that a shemeres yavam who cheats on her husband can still marry the yavam. Sheikh Rabbi Akiva would hold that she can't because he equates the chiyuvei lavin with the chiyuvei krisus. Good, beautiful. Umashvi lucky erva, he makes it as if it's an erva mamish a chiyuv krisus. So now, boy, Rabbi Yirmiyah. Okay, good. That's that. Now, boy, Rabbi Yirmiyah asked the question: Mahu sheyasna adam al nisuin harishonim. Is a person able to make her swear about her first marriage? Right. So, for example, Reuven marries Rachel, then they get divorced, and then Reuven remarries Rachel. And then in the second marriage, Reuven suspects Rachel of cheating on him, and he makes the whole Sotah process. Is he able to make her swear about their first marriage, that she didn't cheat on him in their first marriage, in marriage number one? What about Nisuei Elchev? What happens if the guy is, if the woman's husband died, Reuven was the husband, he died without kids, so his wife Rachel went and married his brother Shimon, and now Shimon suspects Rachel of being a Sotah. So he brings her to the Beis Hamikdash, and they do the whole process. Is he able to do Gilgul Shvuah and roll another Shvuah on her that she didn't cheat on his brother Reuven? That's Rabbi Yirmiyah's question. So Tashma, we have a proof from our Mishnah. Anything that she would cheat on her husband, and it would not make her usher on him, he's not able to make her swear. But if it would make her usher on him, he could make her swear. So therefore, in this case, in the first marriage, so asira, it would make her usher. So hachinami demasna shmamina. He could make her swear that she didn't cheat on him in the first marriage, or that she didn't cheat on his brother Reuven, because in that case, if she had cheated on his brother Reuven, that means that her marriage with Reuven was invalid, and therefore she wouldn't be allowed to be with Shimon, because that's now her brother-in-law, and they don't have a mitzvah of yibum because they're not allowed to be married to each other. So they would have to get divorced. Also in the first marriage, if Reuven married Rachel 2 times, and the first time she had cheated on him, also that would mean that he can't marry her a second time because she cheated on her husband. And forever she's usher on her husband. So therefore, Rabbi Yirmiyah's question was answered that he can make her swear about those cases. Next. Rameir said that Amen, that I didn't cheat on you, and Amen, that I'm not going to cheat on you in the future. So Tanya, Brisa, the Tosefta taught like this. When Rameir says that she swears that I'm not going to cheat on you in the future, it doesn't mean that if she's going to cheat on him in the future, she's going to die right now from the water. That doesn't make any sense because she didn't cheat on him yet. So Ella, so how does it work? When she cheats on her husband again, if she does, chas v'shalom, and she swore that she's not going to cheat on him again, and she said amen. So Maya ma'arinoisa ubayt kenoisa. When she cheats on her husband, at that point, the water that she drank already a while ago from the Beis Hamikdash, a few years back, is going to regurgitate itself, and it's going to kill her then. The water stays in her system, and that if she ever cheats on her husband, the waters will kill her at that moment. If she swore on it in the original Sotah case. Okay, good. So now Ravashi asks the question: Can a man say to his wife, I'm making you swear during the Sotah process? Can he be megalgal on her shvuah that I'm making you swear that if I divorce you and then I remarry you, you're not going to cheat on me then? It's so far into the future. So do we say that it has no consequence because it's not even part of this marriage? Or do we say that no, it's very possible that he could divorce her and remarry her, and then if she cheats on him, then it'll make her usher on him. So Tashma, so we bring a proof from our Mishnah again. And Nisra le'echad v'nitmeis v'achar kach yachzirena lo yamasna hoyachzirena v'titame hachinami demasni shmamina. So our Mishnah said like this, that he can't make her swear about after she gets divorced, right? Or before he married her b'chlal. And he also can't make her swear that between marriage 1 and marriage 2, she's not going to cheat on him. She's not going to have a relation with someone else. Because in that case, she's not going to be usher to him. If she married someone else between marriage 1 and marriage 2, then she is taka usher to marry him. That's only if they had a halachic marriage. But if she just cheated on him, if she had a relation with someone else, it's not cheating because she's not married to him. So there she is allowed to go back to her original husband. So in that case, he can't make her swear. But stam, in a regular case where he says that if I divorce you and remarry you right away, I don't want you to cheat on me in the second marriage, he could make her swear about that. Shmamina. Good. Now, Tanu Rabbanan, this sugya is going to take us all the way to the end of the parak. Tanu Rabbanan, the Chacham and Tanu Rabbanan like this. The Torah says, if you look in Pasuk Chavtes, Zois Torah Saknois. This is the Torah, this is the law of the jealousies. So we have 3 words. Zois Torah Saknois. This is the law of the jealousies. So Malamed, it teaches us that a woman can drink the Sotah waters and then drink them again. She's able to do it twice in her life. Why? How do we see that? Because Torah's Haknois, the Torah of jealousies, the law of the jealousies, teaches that it's something set in stone. It's the Torah. This is forever going to be the law of the jealousies. So first of all, jealousies plural. Sotah cases in plural. Teiras, this is going to be the law every single time, that every time she becomes a Sotah, she's going to drink the wine. Every time the husband suspects her. Rabbi Yehuda says, no. Look at the pasuk again. The pasuk says, Zois, this. Zois is an exclusionary word. It teaches you that she can't drink again. Once she drank once in her life, she doesn't drink again. And Amar Rabbi Yehuda said that Maisa, we had a story once. There was a guy called Nechunya, and he used to dig wells on the way to Eretz Yisrael for the people that would come to Yerushalayim to Yerushalayim for Yom Tov, for the Shalosh Regalim. They had to travel very far, and there would be wells on the way, and it was paid for by Nechunya. He used to dig them for these guys, and he testified in front of us. He was around in the times of the Beis Hamikdash, in the times where there were actually Saitas, and he said, that I know that a woman is able to drink twice. How does he know? Because he saw it in the Beis Hamikdash. He saw a woman drinking twice in her life. And Rabbi Yehuda says we accepted his testimony. However, b'shnei anashim, with two different husbands. Avol loy b'ishachad. If it was one husband, we said he can't make her drink twice. One husband can't give his wife to drink two times. The same woman could drink twice from two different husbands, not from the same husband.
They drink what?
The Sotah waters. If he suspects her of cheating on him, so he can bring her to the Beis Hamikdash and she drinks it. But now, what happens if he suspects her again? So from the fact that she survived the ordeal, it shows that she was innocent. So the fact that now he suspects her again just shows that he's a paranoid person, and we're not going to take his suspicion into account, and he can't make her drink again. However, if it's two different husbands, so then it's a different story. Maybe it's true. The Chachamim say, a woman does not drink the shayna and drink again, whether it's with one man, whether it's with two men. Never again in her life. Once you drink once, you can't drink it again. So now we're going to ask like this. Tana Kama, the first opinion who said that she could drink more than once, as many times as possible, Paksiv Zois. The Torah says Zois. It says this. This is an exclusionary word. So how can you say that she could drink forever? Zois is coming to exclude something. The case of the last case in the Mishnah, the last opinion in the Brisa, the later Chachamim, who said that she could drink as many times as she wants. Nami Yoksiv Teiras. The Torah says that she can't drink even more than once. The Torah says Teiras, that it's a law that's always going, which implies that it's something that's inclusionary, that she could drink more than once. So Amar Rava says like this. We're going to have four cases, and we're going to see that all the Chacham agree with the two most extreme cases, and the two middle cases is where they argue. So let's go. Amar Rava says like this. In the case of B'ish Echad U'Bayil Echad, when it's one man, one husband, and one adulterer, which means that it's the husband's name is Ruvain and the adulterer's name is Chaim. So if it's the same guy and the husband suspected her once, so he brings her to the Beis Hamikdash, she's a Sotah, Givaldik. Then he suspects her again with the same guy, the same husband. Ruvain suspects her again of cheating with Chaim. So the Kulei Alma Loy Pligi, the Eina Isha Shaisa V'Shena. Everyone agrees that it's not possible for her to drink twice. Once they did it once, if it's the same husband and same adulterer, never again. Turning to Daf Yotes Amud Aleph. The Ksiv Zois, because the Torah says Zois, it's excluding that case according to everyone. Everyone holds that case is excluded. The same adulterer, the same husband, never. Then the other extreme, b'shnei anashim u'shnei bayalin. If you have two different husbands with two different bayalin, which means that if you have Ruvain, who suspected her of cheating with Chaim, then you have Shimon, who suspects her of cheating with Yankel. So it's two different adulterers and two different husbands. Again, everyone agrees that she could drink twice because it's two different husbands, first of all, and it's two different people she's cheating with. Teiras, because the Torah says Teiras, which is coming to include more cases. So that's the case that it includes according to everyone. Ki pligi, where's the argument in this case? In two cases. If it's the same husband, but two different adulterers, at first, Reuben suspects her of cheating with Chaim. Then Reuben suspects her of cheating with Yankel, but it's the same husband, so there we have a machlekes. And if you have two husbands, Reuben and Shimon, but they both suspect her of cheating with the same guy, of cheating with Chaim. So Tana Kama Savar, the first Tana, who was the most lenient in letting the woman drink more times. Teiras lirabuye kulhe, that the word teiras is coming to include these two cases. That in both the case of two husbands and one noyef, or two noyafin and one husband, the Torah says that she could drink twice, including obviously the case of two husbands and two bayalin. The only case that the Torah says she can't drink twice is if it's the same husband and the same adulterer. Good. That's the case that it's excluding one husband and one adulterer. The most strict opinion of how she can't drink twice. So Savri Zois, that the word this is l'mu'utekuli. It's coming to exclude everything. Teiras, and the word Teiras, which is including, is l'rabuye shnei anashim u'shnei bayalin. The only case that she could drink twice because of the word Teiras is if it's two different husbands and two different adulterers. There she could drink twice. Mashenk in any other case, one husband, two bayalin, two husbands, one bayal, or one husband and one bayal. is she can't drink twice. Rabbi Yehuda, the middle opinion, who was a little bit, who was a little bit in the middle. What does he say? He says that Zais, the word Zais is the mute tarti, comes to exclude two cases. Teiras, the rabbi's tarti, the word Teiras is coming to include two cases that she could drink twice. Zais, the mute tarti. So now Zais, the mute tarti, which two cases is Rabbi Yehuda excluding? Right. So we had four cases. So which two does he say she could drink twice, and which two did he say you can't drink twice? So Zais, which is excluding that you can only drink once, is the mute tarti. First of all, the case of one man and one adulterer, one husband, one adulterer. Obviously, everyone agrees that you can only drink once there. And one man and two husbands. Why did we choose Dafka in this case for Rabbi Yehuda to say that she can only drink once? Because since it's one husband, we have reason to believe that he's just paranoid. So it's one husband, even though it's a different adulterer. Rabbi Yehuda says we're not going to go too far to give weight to his suspicion because this guy is just a paranoid guy. He doesn't like his wife. He's always angry at his wife. So we're not going to give any room to his suspicions because it's a different adulterer. The guy's just whatever. He's just schizophrenic. However, now Zois, sorry, Teiras l'rabuye tarti. Now the word Teiras has to include two cases. So which ones? Shnei anashim u'bay lechad. First of all, the case of two husbands with one adulterer, because there, since it's two husbands, Rabbi Yehuda says that both husbands could suspect her. We have no reason to believe that they're schizophrenic. And and the case of Shnei Anashim Shnei Bailin, obviously the one that everyone agrees that she could drink twice, which is two different husbands, two different adulterers. Hadron Allah Chaya Mevi. So we will return to you Perek Chaya Mevi, second Perek in Sotah. We're going to continue on Sunday with Perek Gimel. Have a wonderful Shabbos.